All right, hey everybody, this is Brian Hale with Elk County Outfitters. I'm here today with Nate Sellers from Average Jack Archery over in Phillipsburg, just a little bit south of the elk management area. Today we are going to stop in and talk with Nate about your elk archery setup. You just drew a Pennsylvania elk archery tag. The drawing was just a couple days ago, and now you have this elk archery tag, and you're an archery whitetail hunter, but there's some vast differences, some things to take into consideration. So we wanted to stop down and talk to Nate today and pick his brain a little bit, some high level stuff, some things that the archery hunters, the new elk archery hunters should be thinking about with their upcoming hunt. So Nate, what do you got for
I
us?
appreciate you having me in. Lots of cool stuff here. So I have a couple different arrow examples on the table, as well as a couple different broadhead examples, and where there is a lot of crossover into the whitetail setups, but predominantly elk, much bigger critter. Obviously, have a lot of thicker hide, thicker bone, and you're definitely going to want to push the appropriate broadhead in particular and an appropriate weight down range. What arrow you have it screwed into is a little bit less important, but I do want to touch on that first. So this right here is a gold tip hunter. You could do an XT hunter or a pro hunter. It's a very standard whitetail arrow. So this is a 340. It's got to about 28 and 28 and a half inches, 100 grain point, standard blazers, and a nock. This arrow probably weighs around 400, 410 grains. And with any of the broadheads here, I have a couple mechanicals, a single bevel, a standard 3-blade, and then a double bevel, but in the cut on contact version, any of these would be a really great arrow to tip for a whitetail. So you're talking, animals that are between 120, 200 pounds on their feet, even maybe a little bit heavier, and that would be plenty accurate and plenty of punch through power, even with a larger cut mechanical on here. Another one that'd be a great example for whitetails in particular, and we'll talk about how we can beef that arrow up later, would be something like this. This is a Maximum Red Badlands. It's another very common arrow. This one's got a little bit longer, but again, still a 350 spine, 100 grain point. This one probably weighs around 440, which is actually getting into what I would be comfortable hunting elk with, if you paired it with the right broadhead, though. But this would be another great example of a whitetail arrow. So when it comes to pushing into elk, you can do a couple different things to help maximize the penetration, the trajectory, and the type of arrow that you're sending downrange. So I have two examples here. One is you can still shoot a standard diameter, but this is a 166 style arrow, meaning it's much smaller. It's a micro diameter arrow. This is a Victory VAP. And then I have here a 204 diameter, which is a smaller diameter. This would be like your Easton Axis, your Easton FMJ. This is a Gold Tip Kinetic Chaos. Both of these arrows carry a little bit more weight in them, and just because they're smaller diameter, manufacturers made them denser. So this arrow here is a 340, just like this Gold Tip Hunter here. This Gold Tip Hunter is an 8.9 grains per inch. This is a 9.9 grain per inch. So sticking with it's a little bit heavier. So sticking with the same spine of arrow, you don't have to change up your broadhead. You don't have to change up anything else about it. It already, if you had a 30-inch arrow, it'd be 30 grains heavier than that arrow just right out of the box, right? So that could bump that arrow from 410 to 440, which I said earlier is like right on the bottom end of where I would want to be hunting with an elk, about 440 to 500 grains, a really good sweet spot for a lot of guys here in PA. So when you go from that and pairing it with a smaller diameter, just an overall heavier arrow, you can go with a heavier broadhead, heavier insert system. And so I want to show a couple different examples here on the table. So sticking with elk, any sort of fixed blade broadhead that you want to send down range is a really good idea. This is a Magnus Stinger. This is a 100 grain version, but they make them up to 150. That's a really good cut on contact. So the whole thing, the blade is the tip. It is the blade. Has bleeders on there as well. Great option for elk. Only an inch and a little over a 16th cut, so really good at penetrating. Here we have a Grim Reaper Micro Hades, a standard 3-blade. You could shoot a Wasp drone. You could shoot a Montec from G5. You could shoot even the original Muzzy. We all had our problems with them.
3-blade muzzies, lots and lots of stuff.
All of them have that punch point style tip to them, but still really high quality steel and so on and so forth. And then what's really become really popular in the fixed blade world is a single bevel. This is a big one. This is a Razor made out of Michigan. This is 200 grains. This is something a lot of people have gravitated towards in whitetail and in the elk woods. You could do this. It's not my personal preference because of the price point that's on them, but it's still something that's a viable option. So mechanicals are the last thing to add to the list. They are legal in Pennsylvania. I have two options here in Grim Reaper. This is the Grim Reaper Pro Series. It's an inch and a half. They also have an inch and 3/8. And then this is the Whitetail Special. And I picked up the Whitetail Special deliberately because it's not called the elk special. It's called a whitetail special. And the reason being, this thing is an enormous cut. This is a 2-inch cut mechanical broadhead. This thing will not, I would wager, is not going to make it through an elk. They're just too big. They're too bony. This is a big hole to push. Whitetails are incredibly much softer than elk in the long run. I would not recommend shooting mechanical of this size in particular. If you are going to shoot a mechanical, I would stick with something 1.5 inches or smaller. And I would want to be shooting 70 pounds of draw weight and be shooting a pretty decent heavy air, at least that 450, realistically, as far as 500, 550s you can push. And you're going to want a small cut. So you will get good flight out of it. You obviously just like your field point, but that is still a big hole to push in compared to that.
Lots of hide, lots of heavy muscle.
Lots of heavy muscle.
And if you hit bone, it's thick, heavy bone.
And it's not fun to play with. So, you can go on the forums, you can go on the YouTube and Facebook and see guys, oh, I shoot a 3-inch mechanical through an elk. Okay, whatever. But I'm telling you from a shop owner's experience, not that I've killed a lot of elk in Pennsylvania, but just bigger bodied animals, it just mathematically makes sense.
Yep.
You can shoot a mechanical, but make sure it's 1.5 inches or smaller, and make sure it's a strongly built one with a heavy enough arrow.
Great. Well, hey, thanks for going over this stuff with us, Nate. If you are one of the lucky ones that just drew a Pennsylvania Elk Tag and you happen to be up here in the area, be sure to check out Average Jack Archery here and come in and see Nate. They can find you on Facebook, right? Facebook page,
Facebook, Instagram, AverageJackArchery.com.
All the normal kind of social media stuff, Average Jack Archery. If you're up here hunting and you run into a problem, you have an equipment issue, be sure to stop in and Nate can get you straightened out. And so the big takeaway really is just to know that the whitetail setup might need some tweaking if you have that elk tag in your pocket. So hit up your local pro shop if you're not from the area, but if you're around,
come on down.
Come on down to see Nate. Thanks.